All right, let's start out by saying Barakateh Hawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakadash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is You Think It's Any Different Now? And pretty much, this is a title that came to me. I was watching a premiere that Elder Pastor is doing right now, where he's highlighting a video by the brother GMS Inquirer Early 2. It sounds like it's two brothers um, going in, and they were speaking about the Super Bowl and Usher and Alicia Keys, and pretty much um, they were speaking about what they were doing for Super Bowl and promoting adultery and Moism and all that stuff. And this is pretty much what these celebrities have to do in order to make it in this society. Now remember what Yahushai, when Yahushai was going back and forth with Satan, the actual spiritual demon Satan, and what Satan told him. Let's go real quick to the book of Luke 4. Right, this is Luke 4 and verse 5. It says, And the devil, taking him up into an high mountain, showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. So pretty much from every kingdom that was ever on the planet, he showed Yahushua all in a moment of time. And all of these different kingdoms you had the poor people, you had the middle class people, but then you had the rich, the super rich, the top, the top elite of those different empires. And every empire, you had certain individuals that had riches, that were doing good, that were flourishing, that were making money hand over fist, living that good life, so on and so forth, including America. And what you had back then, what you have now, is a priesthood on the left hand side. Right? It says, And the devil said unto him, All this power will I give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will, I give it. If thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine. And pretty much that form of worship that Satan was offering Yahushai was to bow down to Satan, give allegiance to Satan, and Satan would give him all of the benefits of these different empires and kingdoms. And this is what happens to these celebrities, whether they're in the music industry, whether they're actors, comedians, or whatever the case may be. Once they sell their soul, they have access to things that most people out here could only wish and hope for. But that access that they receive comes with, you have to do stuff. It ain't just a thing, okay, you sold your soul and that's it, and then you get all the benefits. It depends on whatever tier you're climbing up. You have to not only climb up that tier, but you have to do things depending on how high you're willing to go and the things that you're willing to do. Right now, I was reading through this book. Let me see if I could find it real quick. Right, I was reading through this book that I, told you brothers about. I was reading this a little earlier, the New Testament and Antiquity. Right now, on page 100, which is the chapter 4, the Mediterranean world of the Apostle Paul. Right on page 100, there's a section which says pagans and Christians on their relationship with the divine. All right, now listen to this. It says, in the Greco-Roman world, the relationship with the gods was viewed as a transaction. Do this for me, and I'll do that for you. So pretty much you have to do something to receive something, because nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Inside joke, but it's true. And what you have to do in this world is things that are immoral, things that are evil, things that are wicked. The Apostle Paul spoke about these things, which some individuals out there don't like the Apostle Paul, but we do. We know that he's a man of the Lord, regardless of what any other them cats out there say. When we go to Romans chapter 13, right, and we go down to the, I'm going to go to the 11th verse, but there's something else that came to mind. Damn, how does that scripture go? Let's see if this comes up this way. Beautiful. Brakate Albashimal, I found it. So I'm going to hold on to this and I'm going to read. Okay. I'm going to read this first and then we'll jump over to the one in Romans 13. This is Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11. And have no fellowships with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Because that's what you either reproving or you're the one actually doing the things that's being reproved or corrected or admonished or cursed out, right? But this is the point here, verse 12. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. And this is what happens. There are a lot of rituals that most people don't know about. The only reason why some people know about these different freak parties that they have in the entertainment world is because you have those that were insiders that are revealing certain things that go on behind closed doors. And it's shameful to speak about these things because they're not going to make you do something that's moral when you're serving the devil. When you're serving the spiritual demon Satan and his physical counterparts, which are the Edomites, they're not going to make you do something that's pious, something that's dealing with faith. They're going to make you do something that's dealing with wickedness. Whether it's a ritual, whether it's an incantation, whether it's a as you see in Super Bowl, in the Super Bowl rituals, that they do, halftime shows or just a video in general pushing, different types of lifestyles that are immoral to the scriptures. These are the things that you have to do where you sacrifice yourself and you sacrifice to get to the next level in this society that Satan is providing for you. So I'm gonna read this again in the before I read the other scripture. Pagans and Christians on the relationship with the divine. In the Greco-Roman world, the relationship with the gods is viewed as a transaction. Do this for me and I'll do that for you. Votive offerings were given to the gods in anticipation of receiving some benefit. You see, so you have to sacrifice something in order to receive something. Whether you sacrifice your integrity by selling your soul, bending over, women, being used, in any different fashion that they want, or whether you have to sacrifice an individual that's close to you, whether it's a friend, a family member, whatever the case may be, depending on the benefit that you want and the level that you are willing to reach. It says, such as an answer to prayer, when the ancients dedicated sacrifice and prayer to the gods, they expected some return on their investment. Thanksgiving for benefits received were not mere expressions of gratefulness, but carried with them the expectation that future benefits would be granted. In offering to the gods, the worshiper had to follow the established formulas, right? Because there's a ritual on the left-hand side that you have to do in order to get certain benefits. If one made a mistake, the ritual had to begin over again. All right. So, with that being said, let's go now. Matter of fact, let me read this again. Then we'll go to Romans 13. It says, this is Ephesians 5 and 12. It is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret, because these rituals are done in secret. Then they're also, demanded and commanded to do, certain incantations and rituals openly in the music. And most people that don't understand certain hand gestures or certain words, certain musical notes and things that go with the music industry, they get caught up in it because they don't all they hear is just the music. They're in that trance. They don't have the mental capability of discerning that they're being, pretty much um, a spell is being put over on them. So when we go to Romans 13 and 11, it says, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So our salvation is nearer than when we believe, right? It says, the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, those things that are done in secret, and let us put on the armor of light, because we're supposed to become a new man. We're supposed to leave the old man behind and become a new man. Therefore, using it to please Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, right? Not please these demons and these deities, these false deities that these devils worship, that they want you to worship in order for you to receive benefits like they have benefits. So you have to sacrifice to their gods. And this has been the same thing throughout the ages. The different religious, or what they call the different mystery religions of all of these different nations, they had to do the same thing. They had to sacrifice their children. They had to sacrifice certain things. They had to sacrifice their integrity. They had to have different sexual orientations going on in a sacrifice to their god or their gods. Just like during the time of when the Israelites uh, were dealing with and it was top men, top like leaders of Israel that were dealing with the women of the Midianites, right? But they were having sex with them in a ritualistic sense to their God. Now those different um, rituals, right? Whether it was man on man, woman on woman, man on man, orgies or whatever the case is, man on beast, woman on beast, whatever it was, it had to be done in order to please the so-called gods, and that's what Jake was doing back then, and they're still doing it now, because that same man that was killed when Phineas rammed the spear through his back and through the woman's stomach because they were in the act of having sex, it wasn't because he was having sex with the woman that he got put to death. It was because they were doing it to their God. And this is what angered the Lord. No, it wasn't because he had a woman of another nation. It's because of the act that they were committing. And this is what the Apostle Paul is telling them to avoid. Temple harlots, that's right, because you had, and then when you read the scriptures in the Hebrew, it speaks about you shall not have a sodomite of the children of Israel or a prostitute of the daughters of Israel. The average Jake out there is they think it's just talking about a mole or lesbo or a woman that sells a body. It's not that. It's temple prostitutes, as the elder Tashai put on the comment board. They are temple prostitutes. When you look at the satanic calendar, which Elder Apostle Gabar is the expert on that, he goes into that from time to time. You go into that calendar, they have their high satanic days like we have our high holy days. And when you look at the rituals that they have to do in those satanic, holidays of theirs, a lot of those have to do. Has to be some type of sexual orientation. Whether it's Moism, whether it's, orgies, whether it's bestiality or whatever the case may be. They have to do these things at different times of the year. And this is what they introduced Jake to, and this is why the Apostle Paul wrote this in Romans 13:13. Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envy. Yeah, because you had, just like you had today. There's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. All the way back to the beginning, you had parties. You had clubs. You had all this different stuff where people would go places and there would be loud music playing. People would be half drunk, having sex in these like you had in New York Studio 54, which is a big freak fest. This is something that goes way back. It's not nothing new. These things have been going on since the beginning of time. It's just different time periods, different nations, different languages, different customs, but all coming back to the same shit. Now, when we look up this word rioting, right, the word there is komos, the Greek word komos, right? And the Greek word como says a revel, carousal. What does that make you think of? You have bacchanal, you have Mardi Gras, all these different freak Nick, and all that other freak shit that they do out there. And Jake is heavily involved in that, right? It says a nocturnal and riotous procession of half drunken and frolicsome fellows who, after supper, parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus. Who was Bacchus, also known as Dionysus? This was the god of wine. This is why music, wine, and drink and all that, alcoholic beverages, that all goes hand in hand with the worship of the gods or some other deity. And sing and play before houses of male and female friends, hence used generally of feasts and drinking parties that are protracted till late at night and indulge in revelry. Right. And then in this also, you have those private parties, where you have, depending on what you're trying to look for or trying to get, whatever level you're trying to achieve, you have to do certain things. And the reason why they have these individuals do that is because in case they grow a conscience and they try to expose the industry and expose others, they already got them documented as being moles and doing all type of foul shit. You see, that's why you have some individuals that they'll kind of say a few things, few words, but they won't say too much because they know that they've done sold out. They did shit that if they spill the beans too much, the beans are going to be spilled back on them. And this is what Esau does. He always has some. He makes you do shit so that he can have something to hang over your head. All right, and this is something that's been going on. This is why the Apostle Paul said this to those Israelite foreigners, because it was going on back then, just like it's going on right now. Ephesians chapter 4, and let's see. Let's go to the 20th verse. But you have not so learned Yahweh Shai, right? That's dealing with the different idols and the worshiping of idols and the different um, rituals that you have to do, right? If so be that you have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahweh Shai, that you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, right? Because the old man was all into, the partying and the going to the, to these different rituals and the orgies and the moism sessions, whether male or female, bestiality, all of that demonic shit. And Esau makes you do that because he knows that when you are involved in going against what the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai established for us in the law, that you separate yourself further and further from the Lord. And they think that by doing that, that they'll get rid of all Israel that way. But they don't understand that the Israelites that get caught up in that is the ones, or are the ones that the Lord doesn't want. And if the Lord wants somebody, an Israelite, that happens to be a part of the elect and they happen to be caught up in that, guess what? The Lord is going to make a way for them to leave. Okay? It says that you put off concerning the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, right? Because we're not battling, flesh and blood. We're battling, we're battling demons, but we're also battling this particular flesh that we're in, which is full of all different types of lusts. It says, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, because it begins with the mind. You shall know the truth shall make you free. So it begins with the mind changing. That's why the Apostle Paul said you have to put off the old man. It says, and that you put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. So now you're coming away from that lifestyle. And you have to get your feet through the door. And eventually, as you get your feet through the door and your spiritual man starts to grow, you're drinking the sincere milk of the word that you may grow thereby. And after you grow for a certain period of time, then you start slowly but surely hacking away at everything that's wrong. And you start to lean more towards righteousness. This is why the Apostle Paul said that let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. All right? Because you once you are cemented, your foundation is cemented, you're going to want to get closer and closer to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's why, with the apostles and the Jerusalem Council, when they were on the righteous Pharisees were trying to get the Israelite foreigners to be circumcised. They said, look, don't trouble them with that. And then eventually the Apostle Paul, what did he say? He said, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Because once you're persuaded, then what's the next step? You're going to want to grow, continue to grow. That you may abound, constantly abounding and growing in the faith. And if you're constantly abounding and growing in the faith, guess what? You're going to leave all of that heathenistic shit alone to get closer and closer to the Lord, which the instruction book, which we receive from the scriptures, is how to do that. So now, when we go back to Romans 13, right? So we read about rioting and drunkenness, which goes hand in hand with it. Now we go to the word chambering, right? Now the word chambering is koite, which means a place for lying down, resting, sleeping in, bed, couch, the marriage bed of adultery, cohabitation with a lawful or unlawful sexual intercourse. And this is what will go on when you will go to these parties that were protracted into to the early morning, all night doing this foul shit. And you've heard different comedians and different people talk about these things. How they like the what's his name, Richard Pryor said that he went to a party, and you don't know who you effed or who effed you, because this is the debauchery that these devils push out there. And that's why it looks polished on the outside. They show you the glitz and the glamour of these celebrities, but they don't show you the shit that they got to do to get to that status. And this is why a lot of them are fucked up on drugs. They're having nervous breakdowns. Have to be committed to psych wards because they losing it, because the shit that they have to do is detrimental to your spiritual health, especially dealing with Jake. Now you have some Edomites out there. They don't give a shit. It doesn't affect them. you know, like you had this guy Jack Nicholson, right? He tried to tell Heath Ledger that the character that he was playing on the Joker comes with a special gift, and that special gift are demons. And he's not ready for that. He's not prepared for that, so he shouldn't take that role. And what happened? He took the role. He nailed the role, but the role nailed him in the long run. But it didn't bother. It didn't bother. What's his name? It didn't bother Jack Nicholson because he's a top level witch. That stuff like that don't bother him. He's all into it. He's all into that, so he can get in and out of it no problem. But others can't. And then when it comes to Jake breaks down, man, because Jake has a conscience. Eventually, they break down. Because they have a conscience. So you have to just put your mind into trying to imagine all of the foul shit that they have to do in order to keep climbing up the so-called ladder of success, and what that does to a person's psyche. All right, so we had chamberings, we had rioting. Let's see, wantonness, which wantonness is pretty much in not having any discipline. So wantonness is aselgia, which means unbridled lust. Right, you have no control over it. Excess, licentiousness, lasciviousness, wantonness, outrageousness, shamelessness, insolence. And the reason why Esau has you do this is to break you down, to separate you from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, especially being an Israelite, because the other nations, they're already given over to them demons anyway. So let's see, and that's the main verse that goes into all of that. All right, now when we go to the book of Isaiah, matter of fact, before we go to Isaiah, let's go to the book of Nahum. Now, keep in mind, Nahum was dealing with ancient Nineveh at one time, but now it applies to America. America took on all of those major empires, and pretty much America's Babylon the Great, America is Egypt, America is Sodom and Gomorrah, America's Nineveh, Basra, all of these different ancient places. That's America today. She embodies all of that. Why? Because she has mastered the art of witchcraft from all of these different nations. That's why in the fifth verse, Nahum 3 and 5, it says, I'm sorry, Nahum 3 and 4, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. That's the top hole. And it also speaks about this in the book of Revelation 17, where it speaks about America as a harlot. And this harlot, was over the seas, meaning over all the people. And America is known as a great melting pot. People come to America to prosper. And when you get here, what happens? Some individuals they become celebrities, which you have to do a lot of different shit there. Some become CEOs and different, managers and different things of different corporations. And you have your rituals dealing with that also. Then you have those that become preachers, pastors and all of that. There's rituals that come with that. You could ask T.D. Jakes about that. He's the expert in that, the power bottom expert, and many others. Eddie Long, and all them other individuals that go into that particular world. You have to do shit in order to stay on top. There's no such thing as you being successful, without being touched by the international banking families. This is their world. Remember what the spiritual demon Satan told Yahushua. All this would I give to you if you bow down to me and worship me. Because that power was given to him, just like that power is given to the so-called elite of this society. So it says, behold, I am because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft. Mistress is a feminine way of saying master. They've mastered the art of witchcraft. Matter of fact, let me hold on to this other one that I was going to go to. Let me get that real quick and then we'll go back. Let me just get the main point. Because the whole chapter of Isaiah 47 is a good chapter. But let's go back to Nahum 3. Let's read that again. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. So let's look up this word witchcraft. All right. And the word for witchcraft is kashap. Kashap. And the word kashap just means sorcery, witchcraft. Then it goes on to say magic. And all of these things come with incantations, with rituals, and they have to do things in order to continue to prosper and grow in this society. Just like when we serve the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, we don't stay stagnant in one place. You learn and you read and you break things down and you become a teacher and you break certain things down. You read for brothers and eventually you build up and you continue to grow in the spirit. Well, it's the same thing on the left-hand side. But the thing is, for the Lord, the things that we do for the Lord, is sacrifices of ourselves, in order to receive the benefits of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. But he doesn't have us do that foul shit that these people out here do. You see? We invest our time in the Lord in dealing with righteousness. They invest their time with their Lord Satan, doing wickedness. So Isaiah 47 and 9 says, but these two things shall come unto thee in a moment, because this is dealing with America, which is Babylon the Great, or the virgin daughter of Babylon, in one day, because America will be destroyed. America will be destroyed in 1 hour by the thermonuclear destruction, the hypersonic missiles, and the lasers from the chariots that the Lord is going to bring upon them. And the main thing that they're pushing out there is sorcery. You see it in the way these entertainers are dressed, the different color schemes, the different, hand signals that they do, the different songs that they sing, the music, the tunes, the words that they use, different things of that nature, pushing that vibration of rebellion against the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, because the Lord ain't going to miss. Is going to come upon you in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So your sorceries, which are your witchcrafts, your enchantments, which are these different spells that you put upon people in the world, you're gonna pay for all that. You're gonna go down, and it's not gonna miss. The Lord says it's gonna come to you in its perfection. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Yeah. And you have trusted in your wickedness. Because here it is, you tell the world that you're a God-fearing people, that you're about the Bible, you're a pious person. But then when you look at your actions show that you are evil, that you're wicked, that you go against the Most High. So you trusted in that. It says, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. Right. The wisdom and the knowledge that you received was what? The wisdom and the knowledge on the left-hand side from all of these different, nations. That's what the Lord calls you, the mistress of witchcraft. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Yeah, because you think you're the Most High. You think you're in charge. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off. Because you're not going to be able to stop the judgment of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shai, upon you. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. So you're not going to know. It's going to come. The Lord said he's going to come as a thief in the night. This is the crazy thing about it. That's why the Lord said he put you in slippery places. Because you think you're in control of everything. And all of a sudden, one day, everything is going to go south for you. And you're going to try to run and try to put everything that you're going to try to stop. You ain't going to stop it. It's already set. It's already etched in stone. It's just a matter of time before it actually happens and comes upon you. And this is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the Lord to exact his vengeance and his judgment upon you. All we're supposed to do is just teach this word, and then the Lord is gathering the elect. The Lord is making the prophecies, take place all throughout the planet. And that's that. And like Elder Pastor said, I believe it was in that video or the video before that, he pretty much said that these devils, they pretty much know that what we're saying is the truth. This is why when they watch the videos, you best believe they watch the videos. They're watching things and they're researching and like, damn, these guys are right. Because it's not us, it's Yahweh Bashem Shai that's pushing his word on the planet. They're looking at it as men, but they're not looking at the spirit. It's the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Shai that's pushing us to say and do the things that we do. And then eventually when it comes time, then the Lord brings forth the action. Remember, the Apostle Paul said, the Apostle Paul planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase. It says, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantment. So when you start to fall, and you start your downward spiral, as Yahweh said, I've seen Satan as lightning fall from heaven. Pull out your incantations. Get your Alicia Keys, your Ushers, your Tyrese and your Jay-Z's and your different, rap female and male rappers and singers and all that, and movie stars and comedians. Get them all and get all your top witches to put spells up to see if you're going to stop the judgment that the Lord's going to bring upon you. It says, and with the multitude of thy sorcery. So stand up with all of this, your enchantments, your spells that you're putting on the world, your witchcrafts, everything that you're doing, your different rituals, your different child sacrifices. Stand up with all of that and see if it's going to stop the Lord from kicking you in your ass. And it says, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. So what is the youth of America? The youth of America, Babylon the Great, is from their inception, from the beginning. When you go back, when America was finally established as a power, you had your so-called presidents coming into power, and some of them were Masons. Some of them, were into witchcraft, so on and so forth. But it had the cheap veneer of Christianity on it. We're a God-fearing people, and God we trust. But really, that was just a cheap veneer that if you just examine it just a little bit, you start to see the whole shit fall apart. because this society was never built upon Christian principles, this or biblical principles. This society was built upon bloodshed. You know, the murder of the natives of this land, Gad, Reuben, Issachar, and the rest of the tribes. You know, it was based upon witchcraft, sorcery, enchantments, incantations, and that's what the witch hunt was about. You know, in Salem, Massachusetts, it wasn't against witches; it was against the midwives. You know, because these devils had a plan from way back then. Anything that's natural, they're going to destroy. You know, this is why you had the AMA set up. You know, and then allopathic. You know, uh, uh, so-called. I don't want to say the words because I don't want them to hit me with no medical misinformation. Then you had the allopathic way, and then you had the homeopathic way. Allopathic was, you know, that fake shit, and the homeopathic was the natural remedies of herbs and stuff. You know, so everything that had anything to do with goodness, they destroyed. All right. It says, if so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Yeah. So stand up with these things, see if you're going to be able to prosper and stop the destruction from coming upon you. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels, because even now they're having these different councils and meetings and incantations. That's why they got Jake making all these different music videos, this demonic shit going on, because they're trying to keep the world under that spell that they've been having the world under for a long time. Remember when the beast came back and, you know, was deadly wound was healed, it said the world wondered after the beast. But now the beast is slowly but surely losing that power, losing their touch, losing their grip. You know, they're losing that ability to cast spells on people. They're not able to do it as well as they used to do it way back in the days, because people are starting to wake up to the madness and the wicked shit that these people are doing. It says, let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things which shall come upon thee. Yeah, because they're not going to be able to save you. You continuously do witchcraft spell, even in front of people, through bonfires, through your presidential, you know, swearing into the presidents and all of that. Everything that you do is all based around witchcraft. You know, Freemasonry, witchcraft, whatever you want to call it, because you have to constantly put spells out there. Because remember what we read in the book, that, you know, it says, do this for me and I'll do that for you. And that's why these jakes that's in the entertainment world, you know, they are forced to do a lot of debaucherous, low life shit, immoral shit, in order for them to keep their status. And the higher up they want to go, the more they got to do. So it says, behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before. Yeah, because this place is going to be totally annihilated. America will never ever be inhabited by humans again. The only thing that would inhabit America after the fire eventually dies out, you know, we don't know how long it's going to take, but it's going to take a long time, is these wild desert creatures and birds and things of that nature that's going to inhabit this land. But never, ever, ever in history, ever again in the world will this place be ever inhabited or colonized by humans. It's finished. It's over. So it says, thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee. Because none of these nations are going to be able to help you out. None of your allies are going to be able to help you out. Because your allies are going to be shooting missiles at you. And I'm talking about the allies from among these European nations, and also your allies from among the other nations. You know? So that's your future. So you think it's any different now that you know that these devils are ruling? No, it's been the same shit going all the way back. You had to do something for the gods, some different type of debaucherous shit, some ritualistic thing, you know, in order to receive benefits from those demonic entities. And that's what they're doing now. They're making Jake do what they do, And Jake is falling right in line with it. A lot of them. Back then, Jake used to burn their sons and daughters to Molech. They're doing that same thing today, but they're not doing it in the sense of actually setting the children on fire, but giving them over to that reprobate spirit, to become moles, men to become women, women to become men. And you see many different examples of that. You have Magic Johnson with that big, overgrown mole son of his. You have Will and Jada. They have their son and daughter, a bunch of freaks, and so on and so forth. Sade, Alicia Keys, Dwayne, whatever the hell his name is. All of this shit that they're doing out there is pretty much that is a sacrifice to Molech, because eventually what's going to happen to those children? They're going to burn up in the fire, in the nuclear fire, or the fire from the chariots, or both. You see? So with that, I just want to say a few words on that. And Lord's will, you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.